Welcome to Five Stripe Friday. How's everybody doing? I'm Blake. I'm joined by my co-host, ATL Joe. It's a Five Stripe Friday. We're ATLiens United podcast. We are so pumped to bring you another episode this week. This is episode number 11. We are trying to bring you the hype, and we will bring you the hype, rolling into our match against Zlatan Galaxy. Coming up, it's a late game. It's 10:30 Eastern. Coming up this Saturday night. Couldn't be more excited. Thanks for listening. This is our 11th episode. We're getting kind of old now. So, Joe, I got to ask you, man, what's up in the A?
Breaking news.
It's breaking.
Wonderful weekend ahead of us. We got Sweetwater 420 Fest on the horizon.
Woo!
A wonderful festival that comes through Atlanta every year on 420. It's beautiful. Best brewery. One of the best breweries in Atlanta.
Kind of the original craft brewery, if you will, in Atlanta.
They were started out as a craft brewery, and now they may not even be a little microbrewery because of how big they've gotten.
Yeah, I can get one on a Delta flight now.
And they do this wonderful festival. Remember several years ago, it used to be in the streets, free festival, walk up, and you just hear bands playing in the middle of a parking lot, in the middle of a street. But now they do it at Centennial Olympic Park.
Yeah.
And they bring in big-time bands. They got...
It's like Bonnaroo now.
Yeah, they got Humphreys McGee playing.
Wristbands.
The Tedeschi Trucks Band. They got... Who are the other headliners?
They got String Cheese.
Yeah.
Got for the country fans, for the guy kind of out there, Sturgill Simpson. I'm really excited about seeing him.
Wolfpack,
bringing some funk. We got some bluegrass coming with Green Sky Bluegrass. You know,
Ghostland Observatory.
Man, there's a lot of awesome bands. Papadozio, the Motet. I could go on.
And then just drinking lovable, crushable, wonderful Sweetwater beers.
Oh, my gosh.
All over the place.
Joe has brought a full arrangement of Sweetwater beers this week in full.
I've just been drinking Sweetwater all week, and I'll probably continue.
And all night. And all day Friday. We're going to have to pump the brakes on Joe.
So if you guys are looking for something to do this weekend outside of watching the late night Atlanta United game, go ahead and hit up Sweetwater 420 Fest. You can get a ticket walking up, and you maybe get a 3-day pass.
Yeah. And after the game, just across the street, I know Resurgence is having their watch party at their beer garden. Just a quick,
Oh, that's
throw
easy.
Out to anyone at Centennial Olympic Park, if you want to go across, whether you're in Resurgence or not, they're going to be showing the game. People are going to be getting rowdy and proud. If you saw the last show, want to just pop across the street Saturday night, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Being that the game starts at 10:30. The concert ends around 11.
Yeah.
So head over there and watch the game.
Why not?
That's a great idea. Other news around the league, CONCACAF Champions League. We were real excited to have an MLS team in the final.
Yeah.
Toronto, first leg. We're lucky they do it 2-leg final, unlike UEFA Champions League. It's one, because Toronto really laid an egg at home. They didn't lay an egg because they got one. 2-1 final. And their next game is next week. They got to come back from 2 away goals, so they really got to win 3-0, 2-0, 3-1, something like that, to actually pull off the first MLS champion of CONCACAF.
It's going to be a really, really tough match for him. I mean, Guadalajara is a solid team.
Historically, Chivas, Guadalajara, they are historically a solid team. This year, they have been really awful. They're 16th in their domestic league. It was kind of a anomaly. They made it to the final, and now they're playing the best MLS team, and of course they lay an egg, and we don't get a good result for MLS. That really puts a bad rep on us. Really disappointing.
But, I mean, you see this across leagues domestically all the time. You know, every year I feel like in one of the English Cups, you know, whether it's the FA Cup or the EFL Cup, some random team from like League One, League Two, the championship comes up, you know, out of nowhere. Like, oh, look, this year it's, you know, Wigan Athletic. Or you know, it's always some random team in England that makes a cup run. So I don't think this is that out of line, and it's a historically great team.
That's true.
You know, and the Mexican League, let's face it, Liga MX has been a step above MLS in the past. We're trying to catch up with them. This is a really good showcase to show that we have caught up. So I'm thinking Toronto pulls it through, honestly.
Well, bottom line with them losing, and it sets them up for possibly losing the final. It sets it up for Atlanta United to be the first team in MLS to win the CONCACAF Champions League.
That'd be cool.
It'd be about 2 years from now because we haven't qualified yet. But it's still, the doors will open for Atlanta to make more history like they always do. And speaking of Atlanta, in the news, 2-2 draw. That was their score against New York. It keeps our home unbeaten streak alive.
That's true.
A little disappointing we didn't get the win. It went either way. We'll get back into that.
A lot of disappointed.
But Miggy got named to the MLS Team of the Week again.
With 1 foot.
What's that make? Two starters and 1 bench for him? Am I right of that?
I believe so. I can't prove you wrong off the top of my head, so I'm going to roll with it.
Right now, him and Gresselmania are competing for the most teams of the week. Who would have thought Gresselmania is competing with Miguel as that top team of the week?
I mean, we would. Gresselmania!
Gresselmania coming to you live.
Always.
2018.
He's killing it this year.
He's going to be on All-Star. Other news, Barco made his first appearance. It seems like Ezequiel Barco is back. I'm fully expecting him to start this week. He looked rusty, but he looked like he had some great potential. He only had 20 minutes of this game. I thought he was going to put away a goal or an assist to really bring us the win. What did you think of his initial start?
You know, we'll get into it a little bit later, breaking down his play. I just thought it was awesome that he came into a standing ovation. I mean, how good does it have to feel? You break a fee record. You come into a brand new city. You don't even speak the native language. And your first game back after being out for the first 5-6 games, you get a standing O in the Mercedes-Benz. That's got to be an awesome feeling.
Everyone was so excited. And that standing ovation, Patrick Vieira even comments on it, the head coach of New York City. He said Atlanta's got the best atmosphere, the best stadium in the MLS. And this game this weekend was so rowdy. It almost felt like the playoff atmosphere. We showed up, and we were rowdy and proud. I was so happy for all of the 17s out there, making it loud. Everyone was so into the game, and it was an up and down, exciting, best game of the week in MLS. Too bad we couldn't come away with that goal that they didn't count because of the VAR, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but the fantastic atmosphere, I think, is what you're hitting on, Joe. Is, I mean, we did the light up phone thing at one point. We had some new chants thrown out there. The energy was fantastic all game. And whether you were behind a TV, whether you were up in the 200 level, whether you're in the supporters section, everyone made it happen. This was a full team experience in terms of number 17. The fans really got behind this game. Sunday night game, you know, normally people are winding down after their weekend, getting ready for work on Monday, but it did not feel like that at all. This was like prime time hype match. I loved being there. It was an awesome atmosphere.
It was great. I can't wait for the next NYCFC game. To conclude the news this week, Mbia watch. Mbia.
Over.
It seems to be over. And a new source came out earlier this week saying contracts kind of went to nothing. He's not planning on joining Atlanta United. But at the same time, that was from a French press, and that was follows Cameroon very well. And our opening is until May 1st. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Our transfer window, I believe, ends on May 1st.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. Tata was adamant about signing someone in the offseason, but now that we started so well, we may not need to add somebody. There's still a chance we get someone before May 1st. And if we don't, I'm going to guarantee you we sign someone in the summer window.
Yeah, and a lot of injuries could happen before May 1st. You know, knock on your wooden hammer.
Injury report. Injury report.
I love that dark intro into the injuries. It's ominous. Go ahead and knock on that wooden hammer for us, Joe.
I thought I just did.
Okay. I just want to make sure our listeners got all that.
Does that satisfy you?
So injury report this week. It's looking a lot better. I don't have that much to talk about, but I love injuries, except when they're to our players, which sucks because, I keep having to do the injury report. Not that I ever cheer for another team's players to get hurt, but it is kind of funny when, they pull a hammy or something.
No, I think I've seen you cheer for the other team to get injured on the sideline.
I don't want to talk about that. That was a different game.
Okay, well,
that was a different time in my
we won't
life.
have to talk about it.
That was a different chapter in my life, Joe.
I was just saying
I'm
I
a
saw
respectful fan now. I would never cheer for another player to, slightly sprain his ankle, to pull a hammy. I never would cheer for that, even if it was all of Orlando's team. But Tito's not traveling to LA.
He pulled a hammy.
He did actually pull a hammy, and he got a new haircut.
Oh my God! Did you see that?
So it's probably time for a Tito Vijaba hair watch.
That might have to be a segment in the future.
But we're not ready for that.
I thought Tito was.
I didn't even know he was capable of a hair watch. He's had the same hair since he started playing for us.
Yeah, maybe he was getting jealous of Joseph's hair, and
it was always it was high and it was straight, and he had it very well crafted.
Very good gel.
Yeah,
pomade.
Much better pomade than Joseph. But now he's gone with a buzz fade, because it's not a straight. It's not like he went I want a number 2. He's like, I want a number 2 on the top, and then I want to go down from a number 2 to a number 1 to just a straight 0 blade, and it's interesting. I mean, he still looks good because he's Tito.
Low maintenance.
Yeah, he's a low maintenance guy
now. And you know what? He saw Joseph's hair watch segment that we always do.
He was jealous.
And he was like, how am I going to make a statement to get on their show? Just go shave your head. And yeah, he did it. Yeah, he got your attention.
That's what Britney Spears did. Shout out to Britney.
Not Britt, our producer. We're talking about Spears, the pop singer, Mickey Mouse Club.
It got her some attention, man. She's back in the spotlight. Everyone loves Britney. It's Britney.
Yeah.
It's Tito.
Who else is injured? That's what our fans want to know.
I'm sorry, guys. Injury watch. No one else is hurt. Escobar's back. His head seems fine. And Barco, he's working up his match fitness, but he's got nothing wrong with him. We got some bench players still hurt, way down the line. Maybe consider them ATL UTD 2. I know Hildebrandt's still out.
Hildebrandt's been out. He's long recovery. And when he comes back, I'm pretty sure Can's got the backup locked down.
He's third string.
So Hildebrandt's probably going to play ATL UTD 2, which they've got a game this weekend at home. You can kind of go watch them and then come home and watch Atlanta United on your couch.
Yeah, which while we're talking about it, big news, I think that Tata said Carlton is probably going to stay back with ATL UTD 2 this week. He kind of made fun of a reporter that was asking about Carlton, and he said something like, well, he's 17. What do you want from me? He's going to stay back with this team and play a full 90. So I'd expect full 90 from Carlton with ATL UTD 2 this week. But Joe, let's talk about this 2-2 I can't even say it, NYCFC game. That's a lot.
Just recapping last week, and we got that 2-2 tie against the top team in the league, and we still remain the top 2 in the East. And finally, we got the best competition that we see all year in NYCFC. The only other team that might compete as that top competition is Toronto, and they're still out to see. I mean, they're focusing on Champions League right now, and then they're going to come back storming. And we faced New York again before we faced Toronto once. It was a draw. We got a point. It was an exciting game. We really had a chance at making it a win. Chris McCann got a goal. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
It's great. Greg Garza scored off of Miguel Almiron assisted that goal. I don't know if you realized. Greg Garza, Almiron got an assist from shooting the ball off the goalie. Garza's scoring. But if you zoomed in on Miguel's mouth, he kicks the ball and says, bank, and banks it off the goalie to let Garza tap it in. He called the bank, and that's why MLS gave him an assist.
That makes a lot of sense because that's what I would always do. You know, I used to play like a Sunday league basketball, and I would always try to swish it, but when it hit the bank and go in, then I would always mouth the bank and tell people to check the replay. I'd be like, check that replay. I called bank. But of course there were no cameras then, so it's good that the camera caught Miggy calling bank.
Oh, he said it. You guys go back to the highlights of the game. Zoom in on Miggy's mouth. He says bank. Or he said it in Spanish.
Right.
He said vamos.
And speaking of
something like
Spanish,
that.
Joe, since you're our resident Spanish expert, I know you've been tracking, you know, our Spanish players on Instagram this week. What is bank in Spanish?
Banco.
Banco.
Yeah. Banco.
Are you sure about that one?
Yeah. Yeah. Banco.
Banco.
Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. To our listeners, to our viewers, you know, replay the game. See if you can see Miggy saying Banco right before Garza taps it in.
Yeah, but, you know, going back to the game, we could have had this win.
Should have.
We should have had this win. We had a go-ahead goal. Josef Martinez passes the ball to Gressel. Makes a cut. Coming back. Darlington Nagbe rifles it to the corner. Off the post in the goal. Unstoppable ball.
Beautiful shot.
We go crazy. Beer showers in the air. People taking their shirts off. Flags going up. And then all of a sudden, wait, why are we stopping?
VAR. VAR.
We weren't chanting it. The ref was chanting it.
In his mind.
They called him back. He looked at the replay, and they decided to say the goal was disallowed because of offsides by Josef Martinez. Now, Blake, you and I have differing opinions about Josef in this particular game and maybe somewhat of characteristics he's shown over the season. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go ahead and say what I feel?
I'm going to go ahead and let you know how I feel, Joe. Because I know that what I feel is not what all of our fans feel. And I'm open to that. I'm open to criticism, and I also realize that some people think our players can do no wrong. I have two qualms about Josef this week, and just hear me out. Number one is his play style, and number two is his interaction with one of our fans. Now, I'm going to hit on his play style first, and then I'm going to roll into his fan. Both of them are criticism of Josef, but it's constructive. I promise you it's constructive because I'm not a guy that is going to throw out criticism not wanting our players to get better. I'm throwing this out to Josef. We know he's an avid listener due to the Hair Watch segment, and I'm throwing this out to him to say, hey, Josef, I really, really love you. I think you could take it to the next level. Okay, number one is his play style. He's fantastic at judging an offside trap, getting back on side, and making a killer run that gives him a breakaway against the opposition's defense. No one is arguing that. But why does he consistently walk back? That is what a lot of our fans don't understand. The fans that are yelling from the supporter section, the fans that are yelling from the 200 levels, the fans that are yelling behind their TVs are asking, why is Josef walking back when the rest of our team is sprinting up and down the field? I think that's a question that our entire fan base has to ask. I'm sure Tata watches the replay every week. I don't know if he's ever had a conversation with Josef. Back when I played, which I was at a much lower level, obviously, I was taught to run anytime I was in between the lines. If you're in between the lines, you're running. That's what I was taught. So I do see why he can get a negative connotation for being lazy or mopey when he makes that run and then he just walks back instead of running back or at least jogging back. He's not even jogging. He's like I'm at Lenox Mall shopping, power walking back on side. You know, he's got 2 shopping bags. He's about to go get some ice cream. And I love Josef. I really do. He's one of my favorite players that I've ever watched perform live. He has some of my favorite memories in terms of Atlanta United games. July 4th always sticks out to me. He just came through and brought us through in that incredible game. But I really want him to take it to the next level. He's already an elite striker. He's arguably the best striker in the MLS. Hustle goes a long way. And I think what our fan base was calling for was a little bit of hustle. The second thing I'm going to hit on is the interaction with the fan. I know he kind of went at it with the fan. in the club level locker room.
Was
All I'm gonna say is this was on social media. Obviously, the club front office didn't broadcast this, but he got into an altercation with a fan. We don't know what was said. It was initially said in Spanish, but Josef went at him, and he was kind of pulled away by LGP. All I'd say to Josef is, hey, man, the higher you rise, the more haters you're going to have. You got to stay focused on the game, stay focused on your craft, and ignore the outside noise. The best players of all time ignore the outside noise. If you take any sport, if MJ listened to the hate, if LeBron listened to the hate, if they were worried about what some fan was yelling at them, they would have never gotten to where they are today. So this is my constructive criticism to Josef. Ignore the haters, push that white noise out, and focus on your craft. I'd like to see a little more hustle, but that's just from a fan perspective. What do you got, Joe?
Let me talk to you about Josef Martinez's position. I'm going to first start off. Everyone was so upset about him being offsides in that goal where they called back. And I, for the first part, don't think he was offsides. He got the ball. He played the ball to Gressel. And one time Gressel gets the ball, as he plays the ball, he's expecting a 1-2. He cuts in towards the goal, expecting the ball to the near post so he can get that shot. Gressel had two options to Josef and the other to Nagbe. Both were good options, and he chose Nagbe, which turned out to be the right option as well because he scored the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Josef was making the cut. The ball comes back, so he's already in that position where he was sprinting, and he just kind of slowed down his sprint. And Sean Johnson was not going to get to the ball anyways, and he puts his hand on Josef's shoulder. I don't think he obstructed the play. Maybe Sean Johnson knew that he wasn't going to get the ball and kind of stepped into Josef. I think that was kind of a load of crap. I wouldn't have called it offsides, and that's one of my hates against VAR. But let me talk about Josef's position. And you're talking about being lazy, getting back. And yeah, it's frustrating to watch sometimes. If you see him kind of linger off sides and then not really hustle to get back. Well, it's a mind game that he's playing with the defense. And Miguel Almiron and Tito Villalba and his wingers and the ball players know this. Josef's kind of toying with the defense. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to be onside. I'm not going to be onside. But then all of a sudden, Miggy's running down the field with the ball. The defender sees Josef offside. I don't have to worry about him. Miggy makes a cut. Josef walks back onside, and all of a sudden, he's wide open in an onside position. Boom, pass, goal. Does it all the time.
We've seen it time and time again.
But the only time you ever actually see it called out is when he's lazily walking back and it doesn't result in a goal, or it results in him offside. So he's playing that position. He's playing the number 9. He's been the single lone top striker constantly. He's always sitting up there alone, so he doesn't have to worry about defense. The only defense he has to worry about is the high press when either the goalie or the center back has the ball. That's the only time I want to see him charging the ball. So I'm okay with Josef lingering off sides. It might be frustrating to watch sometimes, but that's his mindset of the game. And then I want to touch base on the dispute that no one caught on camera, talking about the fan, and some fans upset about him yelling back and forth. First off, if you're an Atlanta United supporter, I don't want to hear you getting on the field and yelling at one of our players. What are you doing? You're supposed to be in support. You're number 17. You're part of the team. It's all about teamwork. That's all I got to say. Josef, and let the coaches coach him. Josef, let him take care of himself, or let his own teammates, like you mentioned, LGP, pull him off. Let them take care of each other. But if you're a fan of Atlanta United, do not yell at our players.
I agree. I agree to some extent. I think that I'm not going to yell at our players. Have I been guilty in the past of even criticizing Josef for this exact thing? I'm not going to lie. I have. I've called out from row 33. Hey, Josef, get on side, man. We need you on side. And do I regret it? Not really, because that was the way I was seeing the game. But at the same time, I think that, we want Josef to be the best player he can be. We want his career to go as far as it can go. And we're behind you. We're for you, Josef. And whatever it takes to support you, that our fan base is going to get behind Josef.
That brings me to my last point. As long as you keep scoring 24 goals in 25 games, we're all going to love you. and it's going to make me come to my point of I really want to drink another beer. It's time for Beer of the Week. Every week.
That's what I say. That's like my line. I say every week right after Beer of the Week, and you just stole it.
You just said it too, though, so it's kind of a teamwork
But
deal.
it's fine because I forgot it last week, and you have like 25 beers in front of you this week.
I've got all sorts of beers to choose from.
I've never seen more beers for Beer of the Week.
I love this brewery. It's Sweetwater Brewery.
Every Sweetwater beer in front of you.
And I was like, oh, my God, I know what beer I'm going to do this week. But then I didn't know which one to choose from. Their Dank Tank they just did a couple weeks ago. You could go from their classics of, IPA, 420. But then all of a sudden I realized they have a new release this month. It's called Tropical Lover. Right here. And, they're an ale house, but they really are crafty. They're creative. They go outside of the ales. This one is a Berliner Weiss.
Weiss.
Weiss. I'll open it and describe the taste of it, but it comes in a cool can. New release. This is the opening of the Berliner Weiss. It's called Tropical Lover.
We are opening the first can ever of Tropical Lover here on our podcast.
Again, Miguel let me borrow his golden spike so I can open it.
Thank you, Miggy.
I'm going to hammer it in with a little ATL chant.
We're ready, Joe.
ATL. Yeah.
He hammered that one home so deep. The whole spike was in the can. Like to our listeners, it wasn't even that he just opened it. He buried the spike in that Tropical Lover.
I just took my first sip of tonight with this Tropical Lover. It's really good. It almost tastes like a sour beer, but it's not extremely sour. It is like a mix of a Weiss and a sour. And it's a great time to release it, coming with the sun coming out. It's about to be warm. This is a great beer to drink by the pool, and it's not your typical IPA that's going to be loaded with make you extremely drunk after 2 or 3 beers. So it's a all-day type of drinking beer. It's a wonderful to drink down the Chattahoochee.
Mango, passion fruit, and guava. That sounds pretty good. That sounds relaxing. That sounds tropical.
Yeah. It's wonderful. So I encourage all of you, if you're going to go out to shoot the hooch one day, bring along a couple of Tropical Lovers. Bring them in a little cooler in your float or kayak and, chill. Maybe find a little beach to pull up on and sit down and drink some beers and enjoy some Sweetwater.
Maybe that rock everyone jumps off of. You know what I'm talking about? When you shoot the hooch, you come up on that little island and everyone's jumping off that rock. It terrifies me. I'd never get up there.
Or if you guys are going to Sweetwater 420 Fest this weekend, see if they have it as one of their taps. Try it out. Explore.
Tasty beer.
But that's our beer of the week this week. So we'll be drinking it all week, as well as all the other Sweetwater wonderful crafts. And we'll carry on from there. But
it's time for I think we need to talk about the Zlatan Galaxy preview.
Yeah, we are facing Zlatan Galaxy this week. It's a whole new team. Almost like FC was an expansion team. And then kind of mid-preseason, Zlatan Galaxy became the next expansion team. Right? And we got a special guest for you coming in. We reached out and we have the Zlatan coming in for an interview, a special interview, special case this week. I'm kind of excited to interview this guy. I've seen him play for many European teams. He's been a wonderful player, but now we're playing against him. And, here he is. Without further ado, Zlatan. Welcome to the show. This is ATLiens United. I'm ATL Joe. Zlatan, how you doing?
Yes, I am Zlatan. I had Jimmy Kimmel last night, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, how was the Jimmy Kimmel show? Did that help you become famous?
No, I made Jimmy Kimmel famous because I'm Zlatan.
Yeah, you're Zlatan. I know you're Zlatan. I brought you on the show as that. You're coming to play Atlanta United, one of the hot new soccer teams, football clubs in the world. What do you know about Atlanta?
Well, I know nothing of this soccer one. Never heard of it.
Well, that's what we call soccer here in America, but you might know it as football. What do you know of Atlanta United Football Club?
Atlanta, I think it's a show on FX. Never heard of the city.
Yeah, that's a show. And it's also a city. It's a very popular city, and it's taken over the soccer or football world. So what do you expect from Atlanta United versus Zlatan Galaxy?
Oh, I expect to bring them Zlatan. That's good. That's good that they're a new city. I'll bring them Zlatan. I'll bring them goals. I bring them more of Zlatan.
So, Zlatan, now that I know you like your name, Zlatan, we've got a guy on our team. He is not going to make the trip. How relieved were you when Tito the Lion Tamer was not going to make the trip to L.A.?
This beer in America, nothing compared to Swedish beer. Who you speak of, Lion Tamer? I am the lion. No one tames me. I'm Zlatan.
Yeah, Tito the Lion Tamer actually tames lions. He's done it twice last year. You haven't heard of him. You're not relieved. He's not making the trip because he's going to save it for a possible playoff if you guys think you can make it. But you haven't heard of Tito the Lion Tamer?
Never heard of him.
All right, I might have to ask you to leave, Zlatan. This interview is not really going the way I wanted it to. You're kind of egotistical, and I don't like your attitude.
It's okay.
No,
I can't wait to score many goals this weekend, and your podcast will reap the benefits of my appearance.
All right, well, time to carry on. I want to see if we can bring Blake back onto the show.
Thanks for having Zlatan.
Zlatan, you're excused.
Your beer is crap.
All right, moving on. We got a wonderful, wonderful show of No Zlatan. Get him out of here. Blake, are you back in the studio yet? That hurt.
I'm trying.
That was a tough interview.
If anyone's watching on YouTube, I apologize for the nudity.
Yeah, but what did you think? Zlatan Galaxy, how do you think this game's going to go?
I mean, I thought it was great to have him on the show, first off. I mean, that's a legend of the game. He's one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, but he's also one of the most egotistical players of all time.
That's true, but he backs it up with his play on the field. He really does. I mean, a lot of guys can talk. Like Bentner, I don't know if you, to our soccer fans, have been listening for, our 11 episodes. Nicholas Bentner goes way back before our podcast. He's been around for about 10 years. He is as egotistical as Zlatan, but he doesn't back it up. Zlatan backs it up. He backed it up in his first game in the MLS. He had arguably the best debut in MLS history. I know I claimed in a previous episode that he had the best ever goal in MLS history. You countered that, but I'd say that he had the best opening performance in MLS history. Would you argue with that one?
No, that's great. They were cheering his name. Bring on Zlatan. He comes in. They were 3 goals down. He comes in, puts them 2 goals to end the game, to win the game.
4-3.
4-3. Yeah, you can't argue. And I do agree with that. Zlatan talks the talk, but he walks the walk.
So do you think that, going into this game, we have an advantage? Do you think that we have a disadvantage? We're on a pretty good winless. A winning streak until this last game. We're still undefeated, if you will.
Unbeaten streak in 5.
So we're going into LA. We thrashed them last year, our last match that we played them, but now we're going into a different environment where they have Zlatan. They're in LA. It's going to be a different time zone for us.
Road game.
It's a road game, which we've always sucked in. Like, how do you see this game going, Joe?
Yeah, so you mentioned last year. We beat them 4-0 last year. And that was during our stretch, right after our huge win. Was 7-0?
Yeah.
And then we come on and beat them. We scored 4 goals before they even got their red card, and then just kind of controlled the whole second half. But that was during last year LA Galaxy that was in shambles. They've got all sorts of name players. You got the brothers. Help me out. It's got
the Dos Santos, Jonathan and
Giovanni. Dos Santos brothers. You got Ashley Cole, the old fart in the backfield.
But legend. He's a legend in England. I mean, he won several Premier League trophies with Chelsea.
So, I mean, they got all sorts of name players, but last year they finished dead last in the MLS.
Allison Drini. Let's not forget about Allison Drini.
Allison Drini.
That's a great player.
I think he's their best player outside of Zlatan.
I was about to say, that's a bold statement to a line.
Last year he was their best player.
It's very true.
But yeah, no, they finished dead last year. They were just a complete train wreck. It doesn't matter what talent they brought in; they could not get it together. And then we faced them at the proper time as they were just spiraling out of control, and we just thrashed them. So it's going to be a different team we face this time around. We're going to face them at their place, and like we mentioned, it's on the road. We struggle on the road. Historically, MLS teams struggle on the road. So I want to go in there and get a point, hopefully 3, and I really do think we can beat this team because, yeah, they have the powerful Zlatan, and they've got a great offensive mindset. They got the Dos Santos brothers and Alessandrini. Perry Kitchen, I think, is on their team, and they've got a really good attacking team, but on defense, they don't have much to show for. And I don't even know the name of their goalie. He's a U.S. prospect, and it never really came to show. And they got Ashley Cole on the left side.
Again, I wouldn't hit on him. David Bingham, he's not a bad keeper. Like, he's made some great saves from time to time. They had a 1-0 victory in Chicago for their last game, which the only goal, of course, was scored by Zlatan. But Bingham played a great game. Chicago should have scored in this game. I watched through the entire game, and Bingham was there for several key saves. You know, and yeah, their defense doesn't have any big names. I mean, Felcher, Steres, Skelchevic. Do you recognize any of those guys as their back three besides Ashley Cole?
No, they brought in a couple young center backs to try to solidify the back line, but
they held it down last game. And, you know, Kamara is the last guy we haven't mentioned coming over from the Crew. Ola Kamara. Yeah. You know, he's kind of Zlatan's strike partner. And traditionally, Zlatan does better with a strike partner, almost playing as a number 10. That's why his jersey is number 10 for Sweden. Then he has done is a solo striker number 9. He does better with a strike partner playing right behind him. So I think this is a scary lineup.
That's true.
I think the Galaxy, man, they got a good team. I don't know what they're going to bring in terms of lineup for this game, but I'd expect to see maybe Kamara and Ibrahimovic paired up front.
You would think that because they brought in Kamara after they got rid of Zardes.
After they had signed Zlatan.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Kamara kind of complements what Zlatan can do. Zlatan's the tall, really good on the ball, really good at posting up, gonna score every time guy. Kamara is a quick, shifty, the guy that really relies on a good service to him. Maybe relies on good passing and play, and he's kind of shorter, so that's a good complementary 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone knows Zlatan for his goals, and I know we've talked about Zlatan a lot, but this guy has excellent distribution. He's not just a target striker that you throw a ball up to and hope he kicks it in the net. He can make an incredible pass and pick out a through ball like it's nothing. So, scary team, man. Any team with Zlatan on in MLS is going to be a terrifying team to play. So, Zlatan Galaxy.
But you got defense. I want to talk about their defense real quick.
Yeah.
And I mentioned they brought in 2 young guys for defensive center backs, about 24, 25 years old. Their average age on the team is probably around 27, 28, whereas Atlanta United is probably more around 23, 24. They're one of the older teams facing one of the younger teams. And I think our big advantage in this game is speed and agility. We're going to be able to run them to death. And bringing that really is a time to talk about what our tactics are going to be this game. Let's talk about Tata's tactics.
Let's do it. Yes, we love Tata's tactics. Mainly because of our song that goes into Tata's tactics, but also because we love Tata. We've got Tata, Tata, oh, Tito, who's out this game.
WrestleMania is going to take over for Tito.
And we're not going to talk about Carmona.
Oh, we lost Mbia.
We lost Mbia.
He was never on the team.
Let's talk about Tata. What's Tata going to do this week, Joe? Our listeners are anxious. They're ready on this 5 Stripe Friday to know what formation we're going to roll out tomorrow night. What's our lineup going to look like? Let's break it down.
I think we're going to go back. We're going back to the 4 in the back. 4-3-3 coming back at you.
It's a bold move.
We're almost fully 100% healthy. The only real injury concern of a starter that I'm concerned with is Tito Villalba, who didn't make the trip. We just saw recently he's not on the plane.
Yeah, Tito didn't make the plane.
So he's not playing. Well, we got Gresselmania, who's playing wonderful on the wing, basically playing right wing. I'm going to go ahead before I break down each player. I want to mention my starting lineup, starting from top to bottom.
Let's start it out.
And it's the 4-3-3. So Josef as your top.
Okay.
Flanked by Gresselmania and Barco making his initial start. That's your three at the top.
Okay, Barco on the left or Barco on the right?
Barco left, Gressel on the right.
Okay.
And then the three midfielders, you're going to have Miguel Almiron as a center attacking mid. You're going to have Darlington Nagbe as a center defensive mid, kind of box to box. And Jeff Lorenowitz as your center defensive mid, almost playing center back as well.
So just so I get it right, Miggy in the 10, Nagbe more in the 8, and then Larry in the 6. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes.
Like Larry, that deepest lying player?
Yes, that's
okay.
right. And then going to the back line, you got to have your captain, Michael Parkhurst, my MVP of the season as of now.
MVP.
Parkey, MVP.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of his initials are in MVP, so it kind of makes sense.
Then my MVP of last year was LGP, and he's slotted back in, had a couple of great plays last week, sliding in, being his original self, and he did not get a card. Way to go, LGP.
Man, that's great because he always gets a card.
Solidifying that back line, those two, with Larry coming back in. All right, and then on the flanks, you got Garza playing with a bum shoulder. He had a wonderful quote this week. Something about, yeah, my shoulder's done. I'm just going to have to, something I'm going to have to worry about later in my life. Right now, if it's hurt, I'm just going to go. If I have to play another game like Minnesota, pop it back into plays and play, I'm doing it.
I would have included him in my injury report, but he just said he's playing through it. So he's not hurt in my book.
He's a warrior. And on the other side, the right side, I had to really scratch my head about this. Who's coming in? I may have thought McCann shifting over, but he's not a left side player. I thought maybe Miles Robinson, who's played great over there. But cleared from concussion protocol, Franco Escobar. I think he comes straight back in, implemented into his lineup. He's been training with the concussion protocol. He's still in shape. I think he's slotted straight back in, and that's why you have 4 in the back because you push Gressel up. So I got that 4-3-3, and I love Gressel and Barco being on the wings there and giving them space. And then my whole final reason of why it's a 4-3-3 is because Tata really implemented it or commented on last game how the last 3 games we have not had majority of possession. And he said with our lineup as that 3-5-2, we kind of give up some of possession to play as we were, and we were playing balls over the top. With this 4-3-3, we're going to be coming back to his style they call tiki-taka. And they can pass the ball around and control the ball the entire game. It's how they want to play, and with a full, healthy lineup, that's how they're going to play.
We could call it tiki-tata.
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 I like how you said
that.
that.
I remember it was tiki-taka when Barcelona with Pep Guardiola played it, but we'll call it tiki-tata.
But on Tuesdays, we're going to call it tiki-taco.
Tiki-taco. Tiki-taco Tuesdays.
Tiki-taco Tuesdays.
Which, speaking of, shout out to our producers, Britt and Ben, always. We want to give them a shout out. And Boots, our producing dog. Fantastic tacos today before our show. Did you like those tacos? Those are great tacos.
They were wonderful tacos.
It's been a great show today, Joe. We gotta move on. We gotta let our listeners get out there and enjoy their Friday. It's too beautiful of a day to stay in your car and listen to Joe and us.
You don't want to talk about your lineup?
Man, my lineup, all I'll change is I don't think Escobar is quite ready. I think McCann still gets to start, and I think we stick at 3 at the back. So I'd bring Gressel back, and I'd put McCann in at center back. That's really the only difference between me like
so
mine and yours lineup.
McCann being left-sided. All right.
I just think we've had too much success with 3-5-2. But I mean, I'm telling you, our listeners are trying to get to 420 Fest.
All right, well,
they're ready to get the show, man.
Go to 420 Fest, guys. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to ATLiens United. I'm ATL Joe. This is Blake Marshman. Check out our website, ATLiensUnited.com. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, social media, all those, Instagram. And don't forget, Phantomaniacs makes some great product. If you want something cool made, send out a request. Go to phantomaniacs.com.
Gresselmania.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and don't forget, you can also find Joe and I at the tailgate any weekend that we're at home.
I'll give you a beer.
And Joe will hammer home a beer for you. Probably a Sweetwater, because we're going to have a lot of leftover beers.